welcome to our class today. We have a nice talk, Ayurvedic talk about tinnitus. I'm talking about tinnitus tonight because I had a client come in this last week. It was like an emergency client, uh, really panicking to the point to where they had gone to multiple different doctors, chiropractor, uh, acupuncture, and I was included in that group. And the thing about it is that he was being told that maybe he has a brain tumor. And anyway, I just want to let you know that we approach tinnitus very differently in Ayurveda than the way that Western medicine does. So I can just tell you what he was told. He was told that by a chiropractor, maybe you have a brain tumor. He was told by the Western medicine doctor that he could be giving medication, which doesn't solve the root problem. And none of them were talking to him about his stress levels. So that was becoming a really big issue as far as like making his tinnitus worse. So he couldn't sleep, couldn't do anything. So tinnitus is the ringing inside the ears. And I want you to know that we all have sound, like our own frequency, our own electromagnetic force has a sound. In fact, there's meditation techniques out there called the sound vibration. So I learned many years ago when I was in high school, I went totally deaf. I was deaf for my part of my sophomore year in high school. And I could only hear my heartbeat, my breath, and then I heard this humming sound. And that was the sound frequency. Later on, in my late 20s and early 30s, I learned a meditation technique called the sound vibration. And it was really easy because I knew how to listen inward. So I have occasionally had ringing in the ears, and it never bothers me because it just draws me inward into that type of meditation. And so I just listen. But it can get really annoying for a lot of people. And for this guy, he was panicking. So I did a treatment on him, and it was a very simple treatment. Not only did I do a treatment using just 2 ingredients, I used olive oil and I used garlic. Now, there's a way of doing it. So if you have questions about it, you can ask me. But that's it. And then the other thing I did was I had him lay down and I had him listen to Yoga Nidra or a very calming meditation. And he completely relaxed. And he got this treatment and then he realized, oh, I feel better now. Well, part of why he felt better was because he wasn't feeling as stressed and now he had a tool. And then I also had to talk to him about what's the root cause of tinnitus. It is a vata disorder. So when you are addressing something like tinnitus, ringing in the ears, you have to treat it like a vata imbalance, a vata disorder. Vata means that ether air has been pushed out of balance. It also means that it's affecting the nervous system. So we need to help create stability and bring in nourishment. We need to de-stress. We got to do all those vata techniques to help ground and calm down the vata within. Now, moving around, rushing around to all these different doctors, panicking and doing all of that is movement. And it actually makes vata off the charts worse, right? So last week I talked about vata because we have been dealing with lots of wind. that's going to aggravate vata as well. So vata is air and ether, and it gets pushed out of balance like that. So you have to make sure you're looking at what's going on in my life. How can I create routine? How can I have some stability? What can I do? And I ended up finding out that this guy had so many issues. Like, down to doesn't even have silverware, only uses plastic utensils. Like, I'm like, dude, like, so now I was telling him what to do. He couldn't do it at his house. He couldn't even chop up the garlic the way that I was asking him to do it because he didn't have utensils. I'm like, okay, enough. You gotta do a little bit more self care. So I'm just finding that when you are, oh, I don't want to deal with it, you're really compromising your own health and your own wellness when you just, oh, I don't want to deal with it, which is what I get a lot. I've had wives come in and I'm working with them and I'm like, this is, they're telling me this is their issue. And then when I bring up, okay, here's what you need to do, they're like, oh, I can't, I just don't want to do that. Okay. These are simple, simple things, and you're worth it. So you want to bring your health back into balance when you're dealing with a vata disorder. You have to bring in stability. You have to create a life that has a little more routine. You want to also do things like, you know, bring in self-care techniques, meditate, take a rest, do yoga nidra, go to bed on time. Those things matter for vata. And when vata goes out of balance, it can make you crazy. Like this person, he's not even a vata body type at all. And yet he was so pushed out of balance with vata that he was panicking. And we're not helping our clients and our patients when we tell them things like, oh, maybe you have a brain tumor. I would never say that to somebody. I would say, maybe get some diagnosis and see if there's something that we can find out. Like, anyway, just one of my peeves. All right, now let's go on with our practice today. We're going to be doing a vata reducing practice. So if you're dealing with vata, like tinnitus issue, this would be a good practice for you. It's very cold. It's not windy, but it is very cold. So we do need to keep moving to keep heat going. So we are going to start out with a nice flow.